I appreciate a funny piece of video, and this is a funny piece of video here. Piers Morgan brought on the Democrats to sort out why they lost, and Cenk Uger's on the panel with Allan Lichtman. Of course, you got Harry Siss on there, and Juan Williams from Fox News. And, of course, Allan Lichtman's keys to the election, the predictive model that had not been wrong until 2024. He claims it was, I mean, technically it was wrong in 2000, though not really. When you look at the will of the people, he predicted a Gore win, and obviously had people known how to fill out the butterfly ballot, it's pretty obvious that Al Gore would have won that time. But nonetheless, his perfect record was destroyed in 2024, and he is not taking it well. And Cenk just loves the opportunity to pour salt in his wounds. And so this is pretty funny stuff. We'll have to take a look.
Don't blame the voters. I think, look, we could get into this discussion, but one, I think you're blaming the voters. I think that's a terrible idea. And look, I debated Professor Lichtman before. I told him his theories about the keys were absurd. I was right. He was wrong. I said he'd lose his keys.
No, you were
Couldn't
not
find
right,
him
and
before
I
the
was
election.
not wrong. And that's a cheap shot, and I won't stand for it.
Well, who won, brother?
You should not be
Who
taking
won?
cheap
Who
shots
won?
at me.
Who
You
won?
want to make your
You
point,
live
make your
in a
point.
total
Don't make it
world of
personal.
denial.
I read your own followers.
I could just say it's a cheap shot. I mean, he was wrong. I mean, it's not a cheap shot.
Right.
That's a cheap shot.
Well, this is really a drowning man watching his whole reputation go up in flames.
Yeah, because he was emphatic that Kamala would win.
I know.
Yeah, he was emphatic. Like, we were not emphatic. We basically bet on a certain turnout model that didn't come to be. This guy has his 13 keys.
As someone, this is where I have to blame myself. As someone with 3 baby mamas, I should have known women don't want abortion as much as advertised.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
You know?
Yeah. That's on you. That's on you. But no, this guy was emphatic that she would win, and so yeah, not taking this well. All right, we will let this play.
Shots at me.
Who
You
won?
want to make your
You
point,
live
make your
in
point.
a total
Don't make it
world of
personal.
denial.
I read your own followers' comments, and they all trashed you, every one of them, and supported me.
Yeah,
so quiet with your personal
Yeah,
attacks.
come find out again.
Make whatever point you want.
Yeah.
Don't
Look,
make it personal.
You don't know anything. You don't know
You
anything.
attacked me personally.
You're so deluded.
Oh, right. I've only been a professor for 51 years.
On this program, I've never been able to finish a thought.
How many books have you published?
Well, he publishes books when he runs for office. I mean, I don't know if you knew that about it. Cenk likes to publish a book when he decides to run for Congress or run for president.
That nobody buys.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So he has published a couple of books. I'm sure they're not as scholarly as yours.
And I'm pretty sure the phrenologists used to publish books too.
Yeah, that's true. A lot of people publish books. A lot of people publish books that turn out to be bullshit.
Because you're personally attacking me again. Say whatever you want, but I'm not going to stand for
brother,
personal
you got it wrong.
Say
you were
whatever you want.
preposterously and stupidly wrong. So, okay, all right. Can I just finish a goddamn thought ever on this show?
No, not if you're personally I admitted I was wrong. I don't need you to call me stupid.
Okay.
Can I just say, it's great to see you Democrats all getting along so well.
Who taught you manners?
It's lovely to see a post-election harmony as you all come together again.
We're just one right now. Hey, Allan, you deserve a tall glass of shut-up juice, so can you just shut up for a second and let someone who knows what they're doing...
You're so right, Piers. You're so right. We're so unified right now.
Make any point you want. I will not sit here and stand for personal attacks, for blasphemy against me. You don't need to do that. You don't
blasphemy against you? Who the hell are you? Are you Jesus Christ, you loser? Okay, can I just give the correct answer for once?
You committed blasphemy against me. That's my favorite. You've committed blasphemy against me. You know, somebody tweeted this at us, and they replied to this line about blasphemy against me as being related to the segment that we did in our last show about the educated class feeling entitled to this certain, degree of adoration and deference. Right. Exactly. That to speak out against me is you're a blasphemer. You've blasphemed against me.
Like, why would that word even occur to you to use?
Blasphemy.
Like, don't you know you're going to make a complete fool out of yourself saying something like that?
Well, it's just so pompous. Wow. And the thing about it is, the thing that's hilarious is, because we've become accustomed to Cenk's personality style over the years. He takes no opportunity to like de-escalate at all. He just keeps keeps poking him harder and harder. You were stupidly wrong. Hey, why don't you have a glass of shut up juice? Oh, blasphemy. Who are you? Are you Jesus Christ?
It's lovely to see a
Can I
post-election
finish a
harmony as you all
goddamn
come
point?
together again.
We're just
Hey,
one
Allan,
right now.
Hey, Allan, you deserve a tall glass of shut-up juice, so can you just shut up for a second?
No, he knows the guy is touchy. He knows the guy is very sensitive to being talked to in that way, as he's just demonstrated over the last minute. And he just keeps going. Hey, have a glass of shut-up juice.
Someone who knows what they're doing.
If you're
So
gonna
right,
personally
Pierce.
attack
You're
me.
so right.
So-
We're so
Make
unified
any
right now.
point
It's
you
great.
want.
So-
I will not sit here and stand for personal attacks, for blasphemy against me. You don't need to do that.
Blasphemy.
You don't boost your
Blasphemy
ego
against you?
by
Who the hell are
attacking
you?
me
Are you
like that.
Jesus
Just
Christ,
make
you
your points.
loser? Okay, can I just give the correct answer for once?
Even Sisson like that. I got to start using that from now on. In certain occasions, committed blasphemy against me.
What happened? What happened? The DNC was paying 2 little bitches. What happened to the other little bitch?
Yeah, I don't know where
You only
went.
ever see him now.
Yeah. Sisson was the more talented of the two, I guess. He gets the most press now. But yeah, even Sisson liked that one. Even Sisson could laugh as devastated.
The other one
as he
decided
is.
he wants to get laid at college.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Yeah. Well, this guy, look, I mean, he staked his entire career, his entire reputation on these keys.
Right.
And now this is the end. He's never going to be taken seriously again. At that point, you know what, man? You should probably just lay low. Like, the best thing he could do for narrative management is lay low and come out very humbly in a couple of years with a rejiggered model.
I mean, what you could have just said, I mean, what really dug him into the hole is the fact that he was so confident and so emphatic that his system was so infallible. What you could have said was, hey, these are my models. They've been right every time. Based on these models, she's going to win. This is a particularly unpredictable race, given that we've had 2 completely different turnout models show up over the past, 6 years, from the 2016 to the 2018 to the 2020 to the 22. Right. So the model says this, but this is a time where the model could be wrong because it's a very unpredictable race. At that point, you can't really trash him too hard, if that were what he was saying. That's not what he was saying. And now the level of offense, the lack of humility, yes, it is reflective. I'm a professor for 51 years. I've published 13 books. How dare you call me stupid, even though I was emphatic in my prediction that turned out to be completely wrong. Yeah, that's where you get that from.
Which again, to make the point that you've published books, that's if you know anything about the history of science, that's why I mentioned phrenologists. I mean, all the junk science that's ever been done produced books.
Right.
Wait, what do you think? They just told people about it?
Right.
That's what you do. You publish, right? They published articles. They published books. What does that mean? Okay, so your books can now be added to the annals of junk science. And that is what he's desperately trying to avoid. He's trying to fight for control of this narrative, but you can't. You can't. You stuck your neck out like that, as you say, if you had more humility. Yeah, this is a really weird race, so I don't even know how applicable this is to this race. Because this is just not a normal election. That would have been a completely reasonable thing to say.
Yes. I mean, that's why I was as uncertain as I was, because it was just not clear to me which electorate would show up.
Sure.
There was just no way I could see that. Now, maybe
Look,
if I were more astute,
on...
maybe I could have. But, that's just something you kind of live with. But to be so emphatic that no, she must. And look, he was biased. He hated Trump.
That was clearly part of it.
He would make his vitriol for Trump known every time he was interviewed.
He was
about
taking
this.
great joy in that prediction, and right there, you're in a danger zone as an academic.
Right, exactly. Whereas people who are just moron as brokers trying to call it as honestly as they see it are not going to infuse that level of partisanship with their quote unquote prediction, right?
Well, there were data points coming from experts and pollsters that indicated that the 2022 electorate was going to be the electorate.
Yeah.
And they were all fucking wrong. Seltzer retired now.
Right.
Here's a poll that's never been wrong like one time. One time they were wrong. Completely wrong. Guys like this, who had a sterling record, coming out so emphatically, oh yeah, it's going to be Harris. So every indication from those sources was that, yeah, it's going to look like 2022, where, you're saying it's going to be a red wave, but it's not, and because the Roe-Dobbs decision is so potent. And this is just one more case where establishment authority has collapsed. Even Jon Stewart closed out his monologue with pollsters. I don't want to hear from you guys again. And I think everyone feels that way. Like after this, I always took polls with a grain of salt. Now, I'd be very hesitant to cite polling as evidence for anything after this.
Well, I mean, if you look at the final results, the polls were almost entirely correct within the margin of error. They were just all wrong in the same direction. The margin of error was all to one side. So it's not that the data
about
itself
Iowa?
was well, that one poll was obviously wrong. That was an outlier, and that looked like an outlier. I didn't give Kamala Iowa in my map. I thought some of the cross sections of that poll were indicative of an overall dynamic within the electorate that I thought may have been predictive, and turns out they weren't. But I never thought Iowa would win. But no, the polls in the swing states were all within the margin of error. They were just all off in one direction because Trump got the turnout that he needed to outperform the polls, and Kamala didn't. And I thought in the run-up to the election, that could have gone either way. And the reason I gave a slight edge to Kamala is because I remember in 2022, in the fall of that year, heading up to the midterms, not being able to carry on a conversation with a person without them mentioning how much shit costs and how furious they were over the price of groceries, the price of gas. And that did not result in a red wave. So I'm like, if that white hot fury over a very fresh and raw surge in inflation did not generate the turnout, I don't think there's a greater than 50-50 chance it will this time. I said all along, I said I could be wrong. It might very well be that it will, and turns out it was. And so it's as simple as that.
It's because Trump is a poet and a warrior in the classic sense. He wasn't on the ballot in 2022. Right. He worked his, magic gyrations on his base, and they came out.
Right. And in 2022, obviously,
he's the Elvis of politics, man.
Well, yeah. No, there's a certain part of that, absolutely, that he drives turnout. And there's also another part of it where his messengers in 2022 were the most bumbling, incompetent fools you could possibly put on the stage. Dr.
Now they're all in the cabinet.
Herschel Walker. Yeah, now they're all getting jobs anyway. Good for them. But yeah, I mean,
Herschel Walker is going to be put in charge of the Atomic Energy Agency any day now.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Please clap.